breakfast of champions. Some fruit, some pre-workout. Cheers. All right, guys, we are in the lab, ready to get some shit done. Dad responsibilities are done for the first part of the morning, so got up with the little man, and first I got up earlier, did some posing, drank a bunch of water, got hydrated. Then little dude woke up, messed around with him, played around on the floor a little bit, and then went for a walk with him and the dog. Come back around 7, time for breakfast. So he had his berries and some toast this morning, and then wifey got up, took him. Now we're here. We got back and glutes on tap today. Always a fun session, hard and heavy, just how we like it to be in the gym. And today is 6.5 weeks out from WMBF Pro Hercules, so it's game time. We're in the thick of it now. It was 159.3 this morning, so holding those 159s pretty steadily this week. We're on day 3 of the recent calorie adjustment, so historically my body kind of tends to hold, and then kind of see a flush down at the end of the week. So hopefully that continues. If not, we will adjust as needed. So I'll snag a few clips of what I'm doing in here, and then we'll talk about what I am sure you've come here for, and that is the whole natural bodybuilding standard and people thinking it's shitty. Tisk. People just don't know. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. If you watched the whole vlog up to this point, thank you, I appreciate it. If you skipped just to see this part, respect. So first off, I just want to say, I don't like drama. I don't like getting into spats with people online and that kind of stuff. That's not my jam. But this kind of topic, it just hit me different. Maybe it's just me being on prep. It just kind of struck me hard, but natural bodybuilding is a sport that I love. It's a sport that I'm extremely passionate about. So I want to kind of weigh in on this subject matter. And where this all stemmed from is popular fitness influencer Will Tennyson. He competed this past weekend in WMBF Vancouver here in Canada, and ended up winning his class, getting into the overall, and winning his pro card. And initial reaction was super positive. Will's got a massive following on Instagram, on YouTube, on social media in general, and everybody likes Will. Will's a good dude. Seems like a really nice guy. I'm saying this as just an observer. I've never met him personally, but he seems like a genuine down-to-earth guy, very likable. And initial reaction from the bodybuilding community in general was amazing, congrats Will, nicely done. And then it quickly spun into this like massive negative space. And I've got notes here just because I don't want to miss stuff, but it's really unfortunate that people jumped on Will and his accomplishment, because that was his first show. He's, from my understanding, not someone who has like this burning passion to be a competitive bodybuilder and work up the bodybuilding ranks and win titles and win pro shows and world championships and all that. This seemed like just more of a test for himself and like a passion project 200 days of dieting. He worked with Cliff Wilson, who's my coach, arguably one of the best natural coaches on earth. And Will brought an incredible look to the stage. For his first time out there, I think he looked amazing. And I think, again, everybody initially was like, damn, like he did it, nicely done. And then it quickly turned into, oh, he wasn't conditioned enough. Oh, his glutes could have been tighter. Oh, his posing was bad. And people just picking him apart. And I can't imagine the pressure Will would have been under to succeed on show day from a placing standpoint. The following he has, like when I think of the pressure I feel sometimes, and my following is like this much compared to his, I can't imagine what that would have felt like for him going through that prep. And it's probably why he kept it quiet for so long, is just the amount of eyes that would have been on him, people in his ear and all this kind of stuff. And then that turns into, oh, you're not ready, you're gonna be not in shape on stage, you should be dieting harder, you're not doing enough cardio, and that just eats at you. So again, I don't blame him for keeping it quiet, because the volume of people getting into your space would have been a lot. And then the narrative turned into the quality of natural bodybuilding and the standard of natural bodybuilding being shitty. That's literally what was said by certain people online, was that natural bodybuilding was shitty. And I'm just gonna put some photos up. So first off, DFAC ANBF champion from 2024, Julian Brewski. Like, look at this dude. Is that a shitty physique? OCB Yorton Cup champion, multiple, I think 4 or 5 time OCB Yorton Cup world champion, Magnum McRae. Shout out to my boy Matt, natural IFBB pro, won the Ben Wieters last year. Matt, fellow Canadian, unreal. And specifically, let's go to WNBF real quick, because that's where a lot of people were kind of jumping on the bandwagon of just that WNBF standard is shitty. If this is a pro card in WNBF, like this is second rate to the NPC, IFBB. So right here, you're gonna see Zebin, the lightweight world champion, incredible. Right here, you're gonna see the middleweight and overall champion Babacar, who is also a former, because he gave it up, the IFBB pro card. He was an IFBB pro, competed in, I believe, a couple 212 pro shows as a natural IFBB pro, said, you know what, this isn't for me, I don't wanna compete against people that are enhanced, comes back to the WNBF, wins worlds again. And then your heavyweight WNBF world champion Samuel, and then just a couple other guys I wanna shout out that are hella impressive. You've got Dirk, who is a former lightweight world champion within the WNBF, never ceases to bring incredible conditioning to the stage, which is something that was also tagged on to the negative comments, was that natural guys just can't get in this crazy conditioning. Dirk, Exhibit A. A shot here of Benjamin Schuster, who won WNBF Worlds last year or the year before as the middleweight, conditioning, insane. And then shout out to my man Oscar, who was second to Babacar in the middleweight class at Worlds last year. Pounds of muscle, like walking around at like 180 lean, which is insane. So when we look at the quality of not only natural bodybuilding, it is far from shitty, and especially within the WNBF at the high level, it is incredible. And I think this is something that people need to really remember, is that within all organizations, there is going to be a scale of quality with regards to pros, right? There are shows in every organization that are handing out pro cards more frequently, now more than ever. And people come at organizations like the WNBF that are like, oh, here's a pro card, here's a pro card. Meanwhile, you have shows in the States under the IFBB NPC banner, for example, that are handing out pro cards. In some shows, winner of each class, which can be 4 or 5 athletes, and in some shows, top 2 in each class. So per division, if you have 4 bodybuilding divisions, lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, super heavyweight, you're handing out 8 pro cards in one division. Then you're doing the same in classic, in men's physique, and then all the women's classes. So athletes are leaving this show with like 40 pro cards, and you want to tell me that they're all going to be of the highest quality? Of course not. And that's where people really forget that even within the IFBB, for every, Derek Lunsford, Samson Dowda, Nick Walker, you're going to have Joe Blow, who won his pro card coming second in the middleweight class, who will never win a pro show and never really take that anywhere just because he's not of the standard that these high-level athletes are. And that applies to the natural side of things too. There's going to be a scale of good to bad, but to then jump on from one result from one show and then just say, oh, natural bodybuilding is shitty, like, that's a joke. Like I said, the quality will vary, and I just want to put this side by side. So this is, let's go natural first. So here we have Rolly Winkler. I don't know what year this is. I just did a quick Google search. Besides Zebin, who is the WBF lightweight world champion. IFBB Pro, who's competed at the Olympia, the premier event of the untested side of the sport, versus WNBF lightweight world champion. I think we can see a bit of a quality difference in their physiques. And then I'm gonna throw up a side-by-side of Rolly again with my boy Matt, who is an IFBB pro, because let's make it even, IFBB to IFBB. Matt, a natural IFBB pro and winning IFBB pro at the Ben Weeders, versus Rolly Winkler, a athlete who's appeared at the Olympia on multiple occasions. And we want to talk about quality. You're comparing someone who is at the highest level against some of these natural athletes. And I know this is a specific example, but I just want to comment on when people jump on the quality, you have to also look at everything as a whole and understand that quality is going to vary across the board. And there's going to be a variance of quality. So I think for people to say natural bodybuilding standard is shitty, you are uninformed of what's out there. And I encourage you, shameless plug, I encourage you to follow Natty News Daily on Instagram. Take a scroll through that page and you will see what's truly out there as far as natural bodybuilding goes. And the top level of the sport is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to my rant. Share the video. I think this is a subject that should be shared around a bit more and open people's eyes to what's out there within the natural side of the sport, what's possible within the natural side of the sport. And the standard is getting better every year. It is far from shitty. So thank you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.